Hello and welcome. Oh, I'm a little quiet today, I think. Let's see if we can get that fixed. But welcome on in to Beacon Space's Unrestricted Warfare, or whatever the order that's supposed to be. Welcome on in. I'm your host, Xavier, or Lich98, as several of you may know me from the Discord server. Welcome, and welcome to Faction Turn 20. Can you imagine, or can you believe we've done 20 of these now? That's pretty insane. But yeah, with that, we can go ahead and I'm not sure I have any big announcements for the start of the stream today, so just welcome on in. Hopefully you'll be able to see and enjoy what all of the factions have chosen to do this month for their actions. If you're new here and don't know what Beacon Space is, it's a Stars Without Numbers based faction turn game where we've converted it from a GM game into a game that is played by members of a Discord community, and you're welcome to join and participate in our Discord. With that though, you're looking at the lovely planet of Tellus, which has just finished its terraforming efforts on our nice visualization tool, which is pretty great and sweet. But I'll go ahead and zoom out here so we can see more of our sector as a whole as we go ahead and get started with our faction turn today. So I was ahead of the game and have already put in the turn order for this turn, so we don't have to fiddle around with sorting the sheet live. Pretty exciting start. So first off today, continuing their trend of being first and being appropriately speedy as they wish to be, is the faction of Ascent, where they're going to be getting some income, which is going to be a total of 6 faction credits, bringing them up to 63. They're not setting a goal this turn, but they are going to be buying an asset, as well as making 2 movements. So they're going to, in total, spend 16, so I'm going to go ahead and charge that from them now, bringing them down to 47. So if we head on over to the visualized map, we can see that they have a smuggler's asset way down here in 1418, and it's going to move itself into the empty space of 1217, right over there to the left. And there's also a smuggler's asset up here in the hex of 0902, which is going to pick up its seditionists that it accidentally left behind previously, and travel to the planet BW over here at the hex of 0701. So those movements both cost 1 faction credit, and they're both valid moves. And then Ascent is also going to buy an asset, and we'll get to that in just a second. So let's go complete these movements of Ascent's assets. So the here goes to 0701, and the 1418 smugglers move themselves to 1217. Great. They are then going to buy an asset on their homeworld of Icaros. They're going to end up buying a cracked comms asset. Oops. And that's going to cost them 14 credits, as we can see right there. And this is going to be on Icaros. So let's go charge them those credits. Mark this as a recently purchased asset. We've already charged them. Fantastic. That will complete their turn then. As a great turn to get us started with. That's relatively easy to take care of. Ooh. There we go. Now I'm still in frame when I look sideways. Up next for our faction turns is the Assembled Commonwealth, coming in second this turn. They're going to also get an income of 6 faction credits. Actually, let me fill that in up here. And they are also not going to set a goal, but they are going to use a different action of the use asset ability. So let's go give them their money, bringing them up to 20 faction credits. And then they have a movement to take care of. So they have a surveyor's asset that is on the hex of 1312 right over here. It would like to move itself to Coritas using the ability on the surveyors. So this is a free movement action. There are then 4 total commodities brokers that are hiding around in Commonwealth space. There are 2 on Menkaraniti, 1 on Idarast, as well as... excuse me, there's actually 3 on Menkaraniti. And those are all going to take their ability to activate to earn some discounts on a future purchase. So let's go ahead and move the Surveyor's asset for the Commonwealth, and then go from there. So this is, here's the Surveyors, this is moving to Coritas, and that is no cost. And then it looks like we already have some discounts banked, so these are just going to add to. We're going to add a total of 4d8 to add to these discounts, so a total additional discount of 10 with 1, 6, 1, and 2. And I'm just going to go down the sheet and add these in order, bringing this up to... I'm actually going to list it as 7 plus 1, so we know that it was 2 different rolls. What were my other ones? 6, 1, 2. 6 plus 1. Man, a few of these commodities brokers have really liked the dice rolls of 1 and 2. Pretty interesting. Right. With that, though, that wraps up those activations for the Assembled Commonwealth. They then are going to take a action of modifying the map, and they're going to attempt to change the tech level of the planet of Coritas. So let's find that planet right now. It's a TL3 world, and the difficulty of this change is an 11, and they have a +4 from their constellation. So let's go roll a d10 plus 4, trying to beat difficulty 11. A 5, unfortunately, will not succeed, so that is going to be a failure on that change. Let's go note that over here. 5 versus 11, failure. Alright, and then they're going to go ahead and complete their faction quest this turn as well. So there's a few things that need to do for this this thing. They've completed 2 out of up to 3 earnable dice, so I get to assign the final earnable die, and in an effort to make the dice pools as even as possible, so the Republicans will gain 1 additional black die. These are then rolled as burning wheel dice or success dice against graduated difficulty, so black dice are 4 or greater, and gray dice are 3 or greater for a success. So I've nicely written out my my roll template here. The difference between these is the levels of success, so whichever side rolls more successes wins, and then the difference causes a few different outcomes to happen. So let's go ahead and make this roll for them so we can see who wins their civil war. Looks like it's going to be the Royalists rolling a total of 4 successes there versus the Republicans' 2 successes. So pretty good overall there. And yeah. Let's take a look now at what this does. So a +2 difference is a standard success, so one side wins without any additional support needed. So there's no additional effects from the this exact success ratio. It's just a regular success. So that is the Royalist, though, coming out victorious on the Civil War. So it'll be interesting to see how that gets fictionalized as we come up to the next lore stream. There are obviously completion faction quest rewards that the Commonwealth will get, much like I covered the Children of the Vein last month at the end of the faction turn stream. We'll circle back and announce their awards at the very end. But congratulations to them for completing their quest. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this over so that there's a record on the spreadsheet. Perfect. And I no longer need these notes. that wraps up the Commonwealth's turn, and we get to move right along to our next faction of the Larkspur Combine. They're going to do a fairly standard turn for themselves, continuing their train of moving inside enemy territory. So first off, let's go give them their 6 faction credits, bringing them up to 29, and then they have 4 post-tech industry assets they're going to activate, which we've rolled quite a few times for them, but let's, as always, double check what measures of success they need for their industry. So we're going to be rolling 4d6 in total and get to see how many faction credits are earned. So let's go ahead and roll those. 4d6. Oof, that is not a good roll. So that was 3 1s and a 5. I think that's -3 credits for the 1s and +2 for the 5. Indeed it is. So that's a total of 1 faction credit loss off their investment there. How unfortunate. So that will take them down to a total of 28 faction credits. They're then going to be moving 4 strike fleets around, costing them a total of 4 faction credits. So let's go ahead and charge that from them now. And we can go take a look at these on the map. So they currently have a faction strike fleet here on Mankiraniti, and they've got 2 over here on Idarast. These are going to flip-flop their locations, and then there's a another strike fleet up here on Heliocytus that's going to make its way over to Icaros. So this one moving to Icaros. One of these moves to Mankiraniti to make that an effective swap. All of these are at full HP, so it does not matter if I just... Oh, I've moved the wrong one to Icaros, excuse me. Mankiraniti moves to Idarast, so one of these moves to Mankiraniti, and this one moves to Icaros. There we go. That looks more correct to me. That is inside enemy territory complete with 4 new strike fleets inside enemy faction domain, so we'll give the Larkspur Combine their 2 experience, bringing them up to 8. And that will complete their turn, as we're moving right along in a very speedy manner. Up next, though, is the Agumala Syndicate, where we're going to be taking care of an attack action, as well as the Blood the Enemy goal. So that's going to be Blood the Enemy here, which is a clock towards the total of their stats, which looks to be 11 to me. So they need to earn up to 11 damage. Let's see if they can succeed this turn. Agumala Syndicate will go up to a total of 54 faction credits, and then they're going to take care of a couple of movements before we process those attack actions. So I'm going to spend a total of 2 faction credits moving, so let's go ahead and deduct those now. And then we can come take a look at the world of Nueva Cuauhtémoc, which has a covert shipping asset on world, and it's going to move here it is, the Cyber Ninjas from planet L up here, all the way back down to Nueva Cuauhtémoc, and that's going to cost 1 faction credit. And then there's a strike fleet over here, La Casa de Fieres. That's right, I have those 2 at 0 HP that should be removed at this point. La Casa de Fieres, that is going to move over here to 10 and 12. Let's go make those movements, and then we'll process the attacks. So, Agumala Syndicate up here moves the Cyber Ninjas back to Nueva Cuauhtémoc, and a strike fleet, this one, to the hex that the white whale is in of 10-12. I'm also going to go ahead, actually, Interference probably in chat, you want to let me know if it's fine to go ahead and remove these 2 entries for the strike fleets that are at 0 HP. I think all the relevant lore has been completed, but please let me know. Cool. I'll go ahead and remove them then. Simplify that. Okay. Perfect. So now we get to roll some attack actions. So first off, they're attacking the white whale in hex 0 or in hex 10-12. So that's going to be their force versus the white whale's force, which is a 4, and the symbol Agumel Syndicate have a 4. So this is a D10 plus 4 versus a D10 plus 4. So we'll roll for the attackers first. So this is for the Aguamala Syndicate, and they have rolled an 8. The defense of the whale is a D10 plus 4 as well, and the whale has rolled a 13, so the whale gets a counterattack. It seems like. How unfortunate for the Syndicate. Their hunt has not gone as well as I'm sure they would have liked. So this is 1d6 counter damage. I believe they only have 1 HP left on that strike fleet. They do, but you know, for completeness, let's roll this d6 counterattack, and oh my goodness, the white whale has been on such a streak with good rolls. That is a 6 counter damage, so that will unfortunately remove the other Agumel Syndicate strike fleet down to 0 HP. So La Casa de Fieras is no longer a good flag. Oh yes, thank you for the tag reminder. Let us re-roll that. This is why I like to have it written out beforehand. Maybe this will change. No. Sorry. White whale having really good success on its rolls. Maybe I should talk with the dice gods here. They don't seem to like your attempts here to smite the white whale. El Destino does not seem to be pleased. Oh well. Thank you for the reminder to roll that, though. Great. Well, unfortunate time demise to show up when your faction's not succeeding in its first combat, but thank you for the sub. All right. There's a second attack to process. Let me not forget this. There's the Cyber Ninjas that were moved to Nueva Cuauhtémoc are going to be attacking the Tahora Fai, where there is a right over here somewhere, there's a strike fleet on planet that has to defend. It has 1 HP remaining. So this is going to be the attack of the Cyber Ninjas, which is a cunning versus cunning attack. So we get to see a different roll this time. So that is a 4 for the Syndicate and a 4 for Tahora Fai. So let's roll this in the same order. So let's roll a d10 plus 4 for the Syndicate, where they rolled a 7, and we'll roll a d10 plus 4 for the Defenders of the Tahora Fai, where they have rolled a 12. So that will be a counterattack damage from the Strike Fleet, which I believe is going to be a d6 worth of damage. Let's just double check though, or d8, excuse me. So a d8 of counterattack damage, dealing 2 damage to the Cyber Ninjas, taking them down to 2 HP. That is all the attacks processed and defended. Unfortunately, the Syndicate didn't do any damage, so no progress on Blood the Enemy as a goal, unfortunately. So that, I believe, wraps up everything for their turn. Looks like it in that case. So we'll move right along to the Starlit Court. We are coming in 5th this turn, and are going to start a chain of exploration across the sector. So let's go give them their money, and then they have a movement. So they're going to get 4 income, bringing them up to 16, and then they're going to lose 2 gold to a movement. That'll take them down to 14. They're going to be moving a strike fleet of theirs from the 15... excuse me, they're going to be exploring with this strike fleet in the 1500 system, and then they will be moving it out of the way. So let's go roll this exploration roll. So Hex 1500, way up over here, is just 1 hex away from an explored hex, so that's going to be a difficulty of 10. And the force of the Starlit Court is a 5, so this will be a d10 plus 5 exploration roll. rolling against difficulty 10, and they have succeeded without any worries there. So let's see how many planets they are going to be discovering, and I think that is going to be 2 planets. Indeed it is. Pretty exciting for them. Alright, so let's do a planet roll, and then I will transfer it over to the sheet here. So this planet is in the 1500 system. Right up here, and I'm going to need one more row below. And this is now planet... does BQ already exist? R... oof. STUV. Looks like we're on to BY. My notes were not accurate, it looks like, as to which planet was next. So planet BY has the mechanics tag of add 1 faction credit per turn. It is an uncolonized planet finding itself at TL2 with a corrosive and invasive atmosphere that is variable warm. It has an engineered biosphere and has the tags of friendly foe and preceptor archive. Pretty nice things all together for them. Let's go ahead and update those formulas. And the next planet of BZ, I'll roll it and then I'll transfer them back so you all can see the rolls here in just a second. This one has the mechanics tag of military assets built on world cost 1 faction credit less. There are hundreds of millions of people living here at a TL4 technology level, along with a breathable mixed atmosphere on a frozen planet that is an immiscible biosphere. It has the tags of anarchist and revolutionaries. Alright, and unfortunately neither have rolled a ruin. So our 2 interesting planets to have been discovered. Here are the roll results for people to take a look at again. Please let me know if you need anything more for that. I'll give it just a second for people to take a look, though. Great. With that, let's go handle then moving this asset to the 1400 system as it continues, probably, its exploration. That is a successful exploration goal complete without needing to take some damage, so 2 experience points to the Starlit Court, bringing them up to 7. And that will end their turn. Up next is Children of the Vein, coming in 6th this faction turn, and they are also going to be continuing their exploration. So let's go ahead and give them their income of 9 faction credits, bringing them up to a balance of 10. They then get to take a movement action where they're going to be moving a strike fleet of theirs that is currently sitting in space on the 1204 hex, and they're going to be moving it to the 1103 point of interest. That's going to cost them 2 faction credits to do so. They're then going to explore this hex itself. They have a force bonus of +10, and the roll is a target difficulty of a 10 from it only being 1 hex away from a discovered hex. So let's go charge them for that movement before we continue, so that'll take their balance down to 8, and then let's roll a D10 +6 versus difficulty 10. A 14 knocks it out of the park. Let's see how many planets they're going to find. Ah, another hex with 2 planets. So we'll go ahead and roll that first one up here. Ooh, really close on the ruin, but unfortunately that is not a 20. So this will be planet CA in the 1103 system. Just double check that. Yep, 1103. So this is planet CA. We're going to end up with another planet as well. The mechanics tag here is once per turn, the planetary governor can reroll a faction generation die of any asset on this planet. They have a tens of millions of population here that finds itself living at TL3 with a thick atmosphere, a warm temperature, and an engineered biosphere, along with the tags of trade hub and xenophiles. The ruins roll of an 18 is unfortunately not enough to get a ruin to spawn. The second planet in the system that has been discovered is it's an interesting one. It has the mechanics tag of it can add +2 to the cunning asset cap, losing 1 from any other stat. It has the population of billions of people that find themselves living at TL5, along with an invasive atmosphere, a temperate temperature, and a microbial biosphere. The tags here are robots and hatred, so it's interesting to see what this world will be. A ruin roll of a 6, though, will not produce a ruin. Let's pull these back over for you all to take a look at, and then I'll take a look at the chat, make sure I haven't missed anything. Great. Doesn't seem like it. That's a successful exploration for the Children of the Vein. Their strike fleet does need to, Legacy of Worms, does need to relocate itself on to the correct planet of CA in this world, and we can remove their previously purchased asset from last turn. Let's give them their XP for completing successful exploration, and then they are going to heal a strike fleet that is on Tellus using the Tellus free action. So asset tracker, they've got a strike fleet that is on Tellus right here. It will go up to 8 faction credit, or 8 HP. Excuse me. That'll complete their turn. We've given them experience, so we can move right along to the Concordative, to the Amelhart Institute, coming in 7th this turn. They've got a very simple turn as we continue to explore. They're going to gain 6 income, taking them up to 55 faction credits, and then they're already on a hex that needs to be explored over here in the 0516 point of interest, 1 hex away, so a difficulty of 10. This is a smuggler's asset, so it's a cunning asset, so we'll take their cunning score of a 6 for this exploration. So a d10 plus 6 versus difficulty 10. An 8 is a failure, and I have been told to succeed at cost, so we will take some damage here of 1d4, to succeed here. That is unfortunate, taking 4 damage on this smuggler asset that is located in the 0516 hex. Let's find that of theirs. Smugglers right here. Ooh, that is going to kill the smuggler's asset. That's unfortunate. Away it goes. The exploration is still successful even if the asset is destroyed, though, so let's see how many planets were discovered here. That is 3 planets in this hex. I can see maybe why the smugglers have found themselves somewhere else. Let's go through these planets, and then I'll show off all the roll results. So this is in the 0516 hex. Here it is. This is going to be planet CC. And I'm going to need 2 more. Alright, so planet CC has the mechanics tag of military assets cost 1 less. It has an outpost level of population that finds itself at TL4. It has the tags of breathable atmosphere, a warm temperature, as well as a missable biosphere. It finds itself with the tags of outpost world, makes sense, and refugees. Our next planet on world is planet CD, and It has the mechanics tag of force assets built on this world cost 1 less. It has the population tag of outpost. It is another TL5 planet. Wow. It has a corrosive atmosphere with a temperate temperature and no native biosphere on world. It also has the tags of Unbreaked AI and Anarchist. A ruins roll of a 10 will not give us a ruin, though. We'll then move on to planet CE here, where we have a cunning assets do 1 additional damage on a successful attack or defense roll for mechanics tag. There are millions of people living on here, though, and they find themselves at TL4 technology levels, along with an inert atmosphere that is cold, but does have a missable biosphere. The tags on this world are Dying Race and Hostile Biosphere, so those are 2 interesting things indeed. Let's populate these columns again, and that is that. So, those 3 planets established. We can then come back over here and take care of that. Let me show off these rolls real quick. So, here was the 3rd planet, and there's the 2nd and the 1st. Perfect. Up next is the... I just need to relocate the smuggler asset, except it do not, it's disappeared, so I just need to give them XP for completing it. Well, these columns have done the thing where they turn the weird color again. There we go, all fixed. That was for Amelhart Institute, needs to get 2 XP, bringing them up to 5. I think it was just the text coloring that is made it look like there was not saved XP for Children of the Vein. If that's not the case, somebody please update me. Great, though. Otherwise, that looks complete, and I guess, Cassadar, if you insist, I will hydrate from my water bottle. And we can move on to our next faction, which is the Concord of Mutual Disdain, who are also exploring. So let's go give them their 6 faction credits, and then go right along with the next exploration task. Great. They are going to be moving on to an exploration into the 1418 hex. So let's go take a look for them. That's way over here, but it is only 1 hex away from 1517. So difficulty 10, that is a force asset. The Concord of Mutual Disdain's force is a 5, so it's a d10 plus 5 versus a difficulty 5, or difficulty 10 roll, excuse me. They've unfortunately breaking the chain, and they have rolled a 6 on their exploration. So that's quite disappointing. But they are going to succeed at cost, so that'll be a d4 of damage, like last time, taking 3 damage to their asset. So let's go record that onto the strike fleet that is located in the hex of 1418. It's probably this one, so it goes down to 2 HP. That takes care of the damage roll, so let's see how many planets they've discovered. A 4 is 2 planets. Looks like we're not getting any single planet systems so far this stream. That's pretty interesting. So let's continue to see what is up with these new planets. So this is in the 1418 hex. So right over here, this becomes planet CF. and it's going to need one more below it as well. So the CF planet has another add 1 faction credit per turn planet for a mechanics tag. This one is uncolonized and is at a TL of 3. Hey, the other one that we just rolled up this turn was uncolonized as well. That's suspicious. Very suspicious. It has a thick atmosphere with a burning temperature, and it has a missile biosphere, even given those harsh conditions. It has the tags of Xenophiles and Unbreaked AI, so who knows what will really be able to be found here. In oops. So planet CG is next. Of course, it's not planet CGI, so I think we're safe there as far as what we're going to find on world. It has the tags that cunning assets cost 1 less. It is a failed colony, and it finds itself at TL4 with a thick atmosphere, a variable cold temperature, and an immiscible biosphere, along with the tags of Shackled World and Space Magic Fear. Ruins rolls of 10 and 13 respectively will not reveal a ruin on either of these planets either. There are those rolls, and I'm going to double check. Cool. Yeah, great. Yeah, it looks like the XP was just the coloring deciding to do the weird. It changes the text color to white thing, which I don't quite understand. That will complete their exploration, and then let's go update the location of that strike fleet because it's no longer hanging out in unexplored space. It now finds itself on 1418's planet CF. They're then going to move some smugglers' assets that find themselves on 1510 to the planet BL. And that is in 1412. That's going to cost them 1 faction credit, so we'll take the Concord of Mutual Disdain down to 18 faction credits, and then give them their 10 XP for completing their exploration action. Their C's ticks up by 1, so they go up to 2 out of 3 on that tracker, and that will complete their turn. Last, but certainly not least for this faction turn, well, as far as player factions, that is, we make it to the Tohora Fai, who are going to at least continue this train we've been on for the very end of this faction turn, including more exploration. So let's go give them their income of 6 faction credits, bringing them up to 15 credits, and then we'll go ahead and take an exploration action. So they're going to be exploring way over here on the 0009 hex. That is 2 hexes away from the nearest explored systems. This is going to be slightly more difficult of a difficulty 12 roll. The Tohora Fai, though, do have a +5 to this roll, so let's see if they can manage to beat a 12 on a d10 +5. 9 will not do it, but they have asked to succeed at cost, so a d4 of damage says they will take 1 damage to this strike fleet. Tohora Fai's strike fleet over here in here, that takes it down to 5 HP. Right, let's see how many planets they've discovered, and unfortunately they've only discovered 1 planet, but it is another interesting world. So this is in the 0009 hex. Where's that right here? Planet CH, it has the mechanics tag of cunning assets built on world, cost 1 less. It's another uncolonized planet that finds itself at TL4+, with a breathable atmosphere, a burning temperature, and an engineered biosphere, along with the tags of freak geology and pleasure world. So, cool planets to have discovered. Let's check where they're going to be moving things, and as I do that, here's the roll for anybody interested. A ruin roll of a 17, unfortunately, does not provoke a ruin. Alright. It looks like the strike fleet that is in that hex is staying put, so let's let's just go update the location of it so that it is on the correct planet of planet CH. So then there are 2 strike fleets that currently find themselves in 1211 with 4 and 8 HP respectively. They're going to be moving to Hex 1012. That's going to cost 1 faction credit each for a total of 2. And then there's a 1 HP strike fleet, the Black Gorov, still located on Nueva Cuauhtémoc. It survived its attack, so it does get to move away, and it's going to move all the way back to Tellus using the Tellus special movement rules, so that Tellus is always a targetable location to move to. So that's going to take 1 faction credit as well. So that's a total of 3 faction credits for them to pay. So let's take that away from the Tahora Fai first. And then we'll move along to their quest action of trying to lure the whale. So this is an opposed D10 plus 4 roll. We'll start off with the Tahora Fai's roll. They've rolled a 9. The whale, trying to resist the lure, has rolled a 10. This whale, he doesn't want anybody messing with him. He's great at counterattacking. He's great at trying to not get lured to where the Tahora Fai want. He's just, this whale's pretty strong all of a sudden. Pretty interesting thing, Mega Space Fauna to have encountered. So that means the lure is unsuccessful, so the whale will just act as normal on their turn. The Revise Charts action is up next for the Tahora Fai. They're going to be adding 2 more hexes into their sector map. They're going to add in the planet of 0009 and 0109 to their constellation. So let's go make those updates, and they're going to have me need to, add on to this chart by adding 2 more columns to the right. So they are adding 0009 and 0109 into their space. This needs to be updated to now go through R. Go ahead and drag that down. So now they have a bonus of +6 for their space, which they're going to use to establish some asteroid belts in the system they just explored. So this is a difficulty 8 thing. They're rolling a d10 +6, so a 16 is way more than was needed for this exploration. So let's see how many asteroid belts they've established. They're establishing 2 asteroid belts for in this station. I suspect they're going to want me to roll up the occupied by and situation as well, so I will go ahead and do that because I happen to have the rulebook open on another page. So let's go take a look at the sector creation for additional systems of interests. So this is an asteroid belt, so let's roll 2d10 twice. So this is for the first asteroid belt, and this is for the second. So a double 2 and then a 6 and a 4. So a double 2 for the first one gives us a Grizzled Belter Mine Laborers that are dealing with a ruptured rock released, which is causing a peril in the belt. And the next one was a 6 and a 4. So that is survivors of a destroyed asteroid base, while there are foreign spy ships hiding there. Interesting. And I'm sure they will get me some names for these asteroid belts in the near future. Perfect. That is some additional lore established there. They didn't then have an exploration role to take care of on the planet of Lagan on the Project Ithis. So that's just a D10 roll, and let's see what they get. A 10 is a great roll there. That's going to get them a total progress of 2 successes on this clock. So I think that means they're going to be pretty close down to completing this clock, right? Yeah, they're going to be at 7 of 8, so odds are they'll be pretty close to being able to reveal this ruin in total next turn. I'll get them some lore about their successful exploration, and then they can continue to update our story on it. That does complete their exploration goal, along with everything else, so let's give them their 2 XP for that, bringing them up to 7. So I think that's about it. Right. Yeah, that looks like it for all of the player faction turns. So now we just have the white whale to process. So the white whale needs to... It was attacked this turn, so it needs to roll a D20 to decide whether or not it's going to fight back or flees. So I believe it finds itself at 10 HP, so a 9 or lower will mean it attacks, and a 10 or higher will mean that it decides to flee. Ooh, that is a 4, so this is an attack against the... It would be an attack, I guess, against the Agomala Syndicate, given that they were the faction to make an attack. But there is no valid target for the Agomala Syndicate in this hex, I don't believe, as the Strike Fleet was already dealt with by a previous counterattack of the White Whale. So, he would have fought back. So, would have fought... Would have attacked. Invalid. So, that seems like the whale just gets to hang out there then for another turn. So, that's great. Oh, did somebody ask me to take glasses off? Sorry, Demised. There you go. I can take them off. I must have missed that earlier. Alright. So I think that about wraps up all of that. I don't think there's anything else particularly to update on turn-wise. So that's the end of the turn. Thanks everyone for all of your orders and submissions. I will update the map afterwards so if there are any hexes that need to be updated so that assets appear correctly. I will take care of that after the stream ends. But I think that just means we're on to general sort of sheet updates and the quest reward announcement for the Commonwealth. So the first thing is sheet updates wise, I've updated the page here so that I can support multiple tags for a faction. So you can already see Children of the Veins additional tag of Gene Rot Might has gotten a place here. It's just in a hidden column that I'm filling in, and then they'll show up here in just a comma separated list. So that'll be great for being able to display those here as more and more factions start picking up a second faction tag. So what that also means is if you're interested in reminding yourself what Gene Rot Might means, it's now available in the tags sheet on the spreadsheet here. It's right down here at the end of just the tags that are active. There are the previous tags that have been developed and written out here for anybody who wants to remind themselves of those. And I'll be adding the Gene Rot Might to the rules document as well shortly after the stream when I do some other updates. So with that, let's go ahead and announce in the things that are relevant for the assembled Commonwealth. So they're going to also be adding a new faction tag into the mix that they are going to receive. This faction tag adds a little bit more than just itself, though, to support it as a full integration. So this tag is called the Anchorage Assemblers, and it gives the following effect. This faction can support one Anchorage Station asset without paying the upkeep cost nor having the tier or tech level requirement. Assets of TL4 or lower can be built on this platform, and additionally the Anchorage can move 3 hexes rather than 2 for an extra faction credit. Now, I suspect that this tag has made little sense to anybody who's not already a member of the Assembled Commonwealth, given it references a lot of things that, well, what is this Anchorage Station asset? So there's actually a new asset that is available, and this asset is available for all factions to purchase so long as you meet the requirements to do so. And let's go add that next. So we'll pop on over to the asset and XP tables, and I need to find the Force 7 section. We're going to add a row right here and hope that I don't mess up anything in the sheet by doing so. So this is now the Anchorage Station asset. It is Force 7, as you can tell here. It has a total of 14 HP. It cost 20 faction credits to buy. It is tech level 5. It is considered a starship asset for its asset type. Its attack is Force V Force, where it deals 2d4 plus 2 damage, and has a counter attack of 2d6 plus 2. It has an upkeep of 1 faction credit, and I suppose technically it gets those special tags. So those are its mechanical stats right there. The asset details for itself, it should go at the top of this list. So let's go ahead and add in the description here for the Anchorage Station. This is the Force asset. The Anchorage Station is considered the centerpiece of any mobile system military power, capable of repairing and crafting assets along with an array of local fighter craft. It's a proficient arsenal in any combat engagement. This asset can support any number of land-based assets on board and can support the purchase of any force asset TL2 or lower. It also counts as a BOI for purposes of the repair action. For 1 plus the number of land-based assets divided by 2 rounded up faction credits, it can move to any location within 2 hexes of its current location for no action. As an action, this asset can gain the status Armored. Another new thing to introduce, this asset introduces a new asset status. So let's go ahead and add this to this page. So the Armored status has the following effect. This asset, the next damage this asset would take is reduced in half, rounded down. The status is lost if the asset moves, or is moved. Source is custom GM added. So it's likely that this status will show up in other things in the near future as well. I was actually considering something pretty close to this for the next event, in giving some assets that may show up by a non-controlled player faction a similar type of a status. So this was convenient that it worked into the Commonwealth's reward. So those are all the new things for the Commonwealth's reward. They have gotten themselves the new asset tag as their congratulations for doing so. I'm gonna have to update this field, aren't I, again? So I'll post all of these like I did last time in the I should do it this way. I'll post all of these like I did last time in the Discord journal, so you can take a look at them in just a second with the full text available to you. And then, as always, if you're interested in getting a faction quest set up and you don't already have one, feel free to reach out to me. With that, though, I think that wraps up all of the announcements and things I have. I suppose the other relevant announcement is keep an eye out for the upcoming lore stream. There's going to be some tidbits hidden into different elements that will start to become a precursor for the next sector-wide event that is going to be introduced. Some more mechanical details about that will probably be announced at the next faction turn. So you can keep an eye out for that and sort of get a few months heads up that the next event is getting ready to start in whatever form that looks like. With that, though, I think I get to thank everyone for tuning in on a Saturday afternoon or evening or morning, for whatever time zone it is for you. Thanks for coming out to see Beacon Space's Faction Turn 20. I'm excited to know we've been able to run so many and produce such an interesting story altogether here. So thanks everyone for tuning out. I'm going to leave you with some cool outro music and tunes as we normally do. Thanks for tuning in.